Doing well today. So glad to be here. Um, we're here to discuss. Come on, go show them. We're here to discuss other important thing. First of all, I want to appreciate everybody who joined us live yesterday to talk about um, important real estate, decisions that you need to understand. So yesterday we talked about the work that Scott Iguma has been doing, and we also spoke extensively on his present arrest. And today I'm also going to be talking more about some important real estate errors you must avoid. And I'm also going to be telling you the foundation, okay, to the problem. Get power bank and taxi charger. So I'm going to be showing you, we're talking more on what actually went wrong and why some real estate developers actually got into serious trouble, and why we're having this, for this. So in case you are on this live stream, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on your location and of course your time zone. I also want to quickly seize this opportunity to appreciate everybody that has been following us. And I also want to also let you know basically that I'll be hosting this live session because of my schedule for Thursday and Friday. Before it used to be Tuesday and Thursday, but now we're going to be having it Thursday and Friday. And every weekend we are going to be discussing and dropping important information. So today I'm going to be sharing a lot of information, and of course I believe many of us are aware with what is going on with Mr. Scott Iguma. Is arrested and yet to be released. Though a lot of people have been calling on the Nigerian police to speed up his arrests, and I would say basically that trust me, this has been a real a challenge for him and every member of his family. So the reason why I actually use Scott Iguma basically is that Mr. Scott is doing a great job. I would start by saying this, and he's an hero basically, and I commend his his courage for this. So, but I'm not here to discuss. You know, basically that several allegations have been made with to that real estate companies. And yesterday, I also said it in my live session that I am not here to affirm or disorganize or discard everything. I said, of course, we are going to be monitoring the situation, and we want to know how everything will turn out. But today's emphasis is going to be on important land banking errors, and I'm going to be telling you how and why some real estate companies got into trouble. Today is this particular company that has been raised, basically, and I'll just say that the table has actually turned facing this particular company, and I can assure you that several other companies who are also guilty of collecting money from real estate investors, and they have not been able to allocate. And what actually went wrong? How did these real estate development companies find themselves in this kind of situation? So that is what I'm going to be discussing today. So in case you are joining this live stream, welcome, thank you. Please give us a double like, share this video, and you are going to learn a lot. You are going to learn a lot. So I'm going to be talking about important land banking errors. One, how the real estate companies got it wrong. How many real estate companies today found themselves in a pitiable and a difficult situation. Why they are in a position today where it seems that there's nothing they can do. Now I'm going to start basically that land banking became a major source of real estate investments in the early 2020, around 2018, 2015, 2014. And the reason for that basically was due to the fact that a lot of real estate development companies thought it wise that one of the easiest way, okay, they could penetrate and get, please tell her to reduce that thing. While they how they could penetrate the industry is to provide affordable property for both Nigerians in Nigeria and Nigerians in diaspora. Now, I'm going to be talking about the mistakes they made. So, and of course, basically that in the real estate, basically, most of this real estate development company failed to understand some basic things which I'll be outlining today. So, their first error basically was that they bought land without understanding government plan for that location. So the first land banking error that those real estate company made. So I'm not going to be mentioning name. I'm not interested. I believe we all are familiar, okay, with some of this situation. So they bought land without understanding government plan. And how did they get it wrong? Many of them were very greedy. I said it yesterday that um, if you are very, very greedy and you don't understand some basic fundamentals of real estate investment, you find yourself in a situation whereby you will be having problems like this. So, because of the fact that the lands were cheap, they were extremely cheap, many of them acquired what they could not develop. Many of them acquired what they could not develop. And why did they acquire what they could not develop? Basically, is that I've said it in one of my videos that one of the major reasons why some real estate companies in Nigeria, okay, acquire property is basically because of self pride and self aggrandizement. Okay, basically, so in the real estate industry, your worth, according to some people, is measured, okay, in the magnitude of the properties that are in your possession. So you'll find one company having different properties across different locations. So that was the second mistake. Now, the third mistake basically is that many of the real estate development companies prioritize profits over service. Now, I said this that when you are doing real estate development in Lagos, if you are a starter like a new real estate development company, your focus basically in your first year of several years of investment is to amass profit. So the goal has been on profit, and one of the ways you can ensure and maximize your profit is to have many estates within your disposal. So many of them prioritize profit over service, and it was like that. So another error, okay, that this real estate development company also made, what basically was due to the fact that majority of them were not were hesitant to do the right thing. Now, if you are in Lagos, um, and you are doing real estate development, many of them were not adequately informed. Now, this is obviously not um, a justification, okay, to what is happening. I'm not trying to say I'm defending. No, this is not to defend any real estate company or whatsoever must have happened, but this is just to give you, an insight to why we are having this situation today. Right now, it has been said that most of these companies finds it extremely difficult. They find it extremely difficult to allocate, to give lands to people who have paid. And a lot of people, I've watched a lot of comments. Okay, a lot of people have spoken online that you have bought land 2005, 2014, 2020, and you don't have the lands. And you might be wondering probably what exactly these real estate development companies did with the money they collected from real estate investors. And I'm giving you a background to how the entire problem started. Number one, they were greedy. Number two, they bought more than what they could develop. Number three, many of them bought out of self pride and self financial aggrandizement. They never wanted this. Number four, most of them prioritized profit, and they did not understand government plan. And one final thing that also happened, or the reason why we are in this situation whereby a lot of real estate investors are calling forth that they don't have the property they have paid for. Another reason basically is due to the fact that many of these real estate development companies have lost possession of the properties that investors pay them for. Now, I have a video where I was talking about some underlying problems that happen when you have when you are buying real estate in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you very much, Dr. Seun Williams. I appreciate this. Thank you very much. I appreciate this. Of course, I'm also live on Facebook and YouTube. Now, when you understand, when I say real estate development companies lost possessions of the property they have bought, now many people don't understand that land grabbing is an important issue. Now, I'm trying to be very, very factual here. This basically is not to justify or defend any real estate development company. I've been a real estate consultant in Nigeria since 2018. So if you should do the plus, this is over going to 6 to 7 years right now. So I know what I'm saying, basically. Now, a lot of real estate companies got into trouble because of land grabbers. And one of the things that have actually dominated the Lagos State real estate market over the years is due to the fact that many of these companies lost possessions of the land. They lost possessions of the land. I've witnessed. In fact, I there was a particular time I personally went for an inspection. There was this real estate investor who is also based in Canada. I'm not going to mention her name. She saw a particular property and she said, Mr. Ade, I want you to help me to go check up this property. So what I do mostly, basically, is that when I'm going for my due diligence, if I want to go and check the authenticity and the documentation for those properties, I don't always inform the real estate developers. A lot of them today are not even aware that I have some secrets about the proposed properties they are selling. And sometimes when I do this, please move this forward. When I do this, I try as much as I can, okay, to remain as anonymous as possible, because you need to understand this. Now, when I got there, basically the developer was selling that particular property. That was in 2021 in the ibeju-lekki axis, I think for 750,000 naira. Now, by the time I did some findings, I found out that the developer that was even selling this property did not even have the legal rights to sell the property. And why does the developer does not have the legal right? This was due to the fact that I've seen several instances whereby a lot of real estate companies bought properties from the wrong people. Now, I have explained it in some of my videos that there are instances whereby some portions of land are communally owned. Like, for instance, let's say a 20 acres of land, we can have like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 families having legal, possession of that property. And when you are buying real estate, most of these companies don't consult every members of the family. And one of the reasons why land grabbing issues has persisted basically is that some members of the family that have possessions don't contact every other member. So in a situation whereby that land is sold and other members are alerted that this particular person have sold the land and other members of the family are not aware, crisis started. In fact, there was a time I went, basically, that I was lucky to have been not to have been lynched. I was attacked, and due to the fact that because of the fact I speak Yoruba very well, I was able to escape that attack because I was able to plead my case that I am not the person that bought. I just came to make it. So I found out basically that most of the properties that are being advertised, more importantly, those cheap properties in the ibeju-lekki and Epe regions were not properly owned. They were not properly owned. They were bought from the wrong sources. And today, larger percent of the real estate development companies today, one of the reasons why they cannot allocate you is that majority of them have lost possession of that investment. They don't have possession of it, so there is no land to give you. Now, the final problem that also happened, because you see, if you don't understand the genesis of this situation, now, like I said at the commencement of this video, the aim of this video is not, please, handkerchief. The aim of this video basically is not to support the accused company or to support anybody. The aim of this video is for you to have an historical background on how all these crises started, because if you don't understand the history of this event, you will not understand why it has become extremely difficult for companies or for developers to give you land. I saw, when I was reading some of the the complaints that some real estate investors sent to Mr. Scott. I saw cases of 2014, I saw cases of 2020, I saw cases of 2019, and you'll be wondering that are these people, are they this callous that they have collected? The truth basically is that most of the lands they've sold to you, they don't have possession. And the final reasons why some real estate companies today find it extremely difficult to allocate, despite the fact, okay, that you have paid them, is due to the fact that government have taken possession of larger percent of the land they have sold to you. Now, I'm going to explain why this happened so that you can have an understanding of how to navigate real estate investment. Now, I know a lot of people have, they have over time come in contact and they have asked a lot of questions. Now, all those cheap lands that were sold, I bought. Okay, so I can categorically come here and tell you guys the truth that when people started selling the ibeju-lekki, the folu, the ise, I bought because they were cheap. And what was projected to us, okay, basically is that it's going to become the next Dubai of Africa, the free trade zone. And realistically, the free trade zone is functional. The deep support is functional. Every other gigantic project in the ibeju-lekki corridor are functional, they are existing. But one major mistake I made basically was that I did not understand that when you buy properties, more importantly, if it's an untitled properties, you are supposed to perfect your documentation. Now, perfecting of documentation, I'm going to be doing a series very soon where I'm going to be talking about understanding how to take possession of properties in Lagos, because you see, the situation is going to become worse. That this present situation that Scott and this particular real estate company are having is not serving as a lesson to major real estate development company. A lot of them today, we still have a lot of people who are still perpetuating these malicious and scandalous and of course fraudulent real estate transactions. It's still going on, and it's quite sad that people are not learning their lessons. So when we bought, we were in fact, I got my allocation, I still have my papers, but it did not. So most of those real estate companies were supposed to inform their buyers that, okay, what you have bought is an undocumented or untitled properties. You are supposed to proceed with either perfecting your C of O title, or you let us do it. Now, at the commencement of this video, I said one of the genesis to all these P1 and Scot's Iguma's issue basically is that larger percent of most of those lands that have been sold to investors, basically in the ibeju-lekki, in the Ekpe. I know of the ibeju-lekki because I know, of course, I'm going to be hosting a show, a program very soon, where I'm going to be bringing a professional registered surveyor, someone I've worked with, and is going to share more light in what is happening in Ekpe. And of course, because of my time, and I don't want this video to be unnecessarily long, but it is very important to understand this. Now, because of the fact that most of the properties that some of these companies sold were not properly documented, when government started bringing, because when those places were sold, they were majorly bushes. They were majorly bushes. There were no development there. So the idea that was sold is that buy bush and sell as a city. So we all had that enthusiasm that, okay, fine, okay, the land I'm buying 700. They gave us different stories of how people bought Lekki Phase 1 for 1.5, and today they sold it for hundreds of millions. That story obviously motivated so many of us, and we felt, okay, doing this kind of investment is actually the best. But we did not know that if you buy an untitled properties in Lagos, if you don't have your papers, government will come for you. We did not know. We were not told. And the real estate development company that sold to several real estate investors did not even bother to even inform their investors. And one of the things that also happened basically was due to the fact that instead of this real estate development company to perfect and do the documents of the property they have sold, they use the money realized from the sales to buy several other properties, bushes, vacant land elsewhere. Because you see, like I said at commencement of the video, it was about the profit, not about the service. They were not concerned whether government is coming in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, or government is coming. In fact, the ibeju-lekki was so sudden because government did not take time before they started taking possession. And what actually broke the camel's back definitely was when the coastal road project. In fact, when that coastal road project started, the coastal road project was like an eye opener. It exposed so many frauds in the industry. So today, Scott is calling this particular. See, by the time some other real estate investors, a lot of companies will be called out. It's not just this particular one that Scott is. So many people are guilty of this. So I said it yesterday in my live in the live session I have with some investors. I said you are just mentioning one out of several. So a lot of people will be called out because you see, a lot of people perpetuated this, but it was just quite unfortunate that, and the reason why this has actually lingered for a very long time, basically was that no one had the boldness to do what Mr. Scott is doing. Basically, I would not come out and say this company scammed you, because you see, look at what is happening to him right now. This guy is speaking for the people. He's trying to call, the necessary authorities, and right now is behind bars. So I can tell you basically that people actually knew some of this situation before Mr. Scott started calling, because you see, the judicial, or I'll say the institutions are not supporting people who speak out. So what we can do, what we owe you as real estate investors, wherever you are across the world, it's that's one of the reasons why I said basically that we have, why I started doing podcasts on real estate, basically, whether on my for some of you who might be watching, my channel is King Scott TV. I've been dropping a lot of videos on my YouTube channel, and of course I've been sharing the links on my Facebook so that you can go back and watch and see. Now, the reason why I cannot come out like Mr. Scott and start calling companies or defaulted real estate developers, because of the fact that you are seeing what is going on right now. You'll be arrested, and basically, if you don't have the required legal backing and some other things, some of these things happen. So, as I'm saying, a lot of people, a lot of companies will still be called out, because you see, a lot of people are involved. So when government started the project, the coastal road project, exposed 70% of the lands that were sold to real estate. So we found out that most of those committed. These were lands that were not supposed to be sold. Now, one of the reasons why some of these things, why this situation prolonged for a very long time, basically, is that there was no regulation as at that time. Now, yesterday I mentioned that real estate, for some of us that followed yesterday, I still have the replay of the video on my channel. You can check it in case you have missed some, but I will always make reference to some of the highlights of vital points that I raised yesterday. And one of the things I said basically is that real estate is like the next thing after crude oil in Nigeria. Real estate right now is the crude oil after. So a lot of people saw that many people got into real estate development. They saw that people made a lot of money. When they talk about making a lot of money, people made billions revenue. I know a particular company far back in 2021 that its net worth, okay, was almost like close to 2 billion. And this particular company only sold a particular location in ibeju-lekki, and this guy net was close to almost 2 billion by selling those properties. We know the data, we know the history. So what we can do basically is to call your attention to this. So this is how the problem started. This is how. So I support what Mr. Scott is doing, but I would say I am an historian. I'm a graduate of history from Unilag with a master's degree, and I can tell you basically that the reason why I think the way he approached the situation basically was I thought basically that he had support, but After this arrest, I can categorically tell you that he didn't have all the necessary support. And in Nigeria, you don't report your oppressors to the police, and because if you do, the reverse has always been the case. So this is how the entire thing started. So as at 2023, 2024, the problem started revealing itself. Now, how did most of these issues, came into limelight? Number one, investors that bought, it's not as if many of them just suddenly realized that there was a problem. Many of them knew that there was a problem, but they did not know who to call. And to make matter worse, yesterday I also raised the point that if you are interested, because you see, Lagos is one of the most profitable destinations to do real estate, and Lagos is also a high risk zone for investment. This simply means that if you do not apply the services of a professional, it doesn't matter how good that offer looks to you. If you don't understand the risk that is pertaining the investment you are making, you will lose your hard-earned money. You will, because you see, everybody today are now realtors, both the experienced, the inexperienced, the greedy, and of course the naive. So because now the way these people work, basically most of this company is that they do what we call MLM marketing, like network marketing. Now the thing is that they will give themselves a target. Okay, fine, we want to do 2 billion in 1 month. So how are we going to achieve this 2 billion in sales in 1 month? So what they do basically is that they start creating network of what? Marketers. So, and that's why you find out that whenever they're having program, you find out that a lot of people are being stuck in are being stacked up in coastal buses. They do launches, they do a lot of things. I'm not saying that every launch they are doing is fraudulent, but I'm just trying to let you understand that the reason why majority of these companies are in this problem today is that they focused on profit maximization. And the thing basically is that there are regulations. If you should buy a property in Lagos, Nigeria, if your property does not have the following title, you should start calling yourself into order and start doing the right thing. Now, doing the right thing for me is not like you should call me because one of the things I've been able to do over time is that my job is to inform you. Now, what you now do with the information is left to you. My job basically is to, so when I realized, because I was scammed. Now, when I got into the industry, there were so many things I did not know. So I will come here and tell you, so if you have been following some of my videos and you see some of the informations I've been sharing, if I did not tell you that I was scammed, you won't believe it. But when we just came in, they saw this idea, buy bush, now that it's cheap, and sell it when it was a city. So many things were not clear to us. So I bought, just like we were persuaded. In fact, I even called some of my friends, even some in diaspora, okay, let's buy. And when the problem started, I called them and said, this is what I discovered. And they told us, what should we do? Now, the reason why I was able to recover some of our money that we spent was due to the fact that I understood some things, which I have not, because there are some informations, not all information should be shared online. I understood some things, okay, about how the Lagos real estate market works. So we're able to recover, not everything, but we're able to recover some. And there were some we were not, because there were some real estate developers that sold properties, and the moment they got, the SOS that there was trouble, the ones that could not, that does not have, the capacity, the courage to face it, they all left the countries. I know 3 real estate developers who sold properties in ibeju-lekki and Epe who are no longer in Nigeria. So you see, you need to understand that these things are happening. This thing happened. So this is, or I would say, this was the genesis of how this issue of not having properties to give started. This is it. So if you don't understand how some of these things happened, you don't have an historical approach or historical overview to some of this. The reason why I'm able to explain some of these things to you basically is that I'm also in sector, and as a student of history, or I'm not as a graduate of history, I can categorically tell you, okay, that this is how things are. And the saddest of all, basically, is that you see this approach that got so many companies into trouble. I can categorically tell you that there are still some real estate companies in Nigeria that are still using this approach because they found out that this particular approach is highly profitable. It can help them realize and make money over the shortest and the longest period of time. And this is why it is very, very important that you don't compromise. Now, I'm going to quickly say just one more thing before I open the line for questions. You can send me questions and I will respond, accordingly to them. Now, when you are investing in Nigeria, the safety of your investments, the profitability of your investments is solely dependent on who is representing you as your realtor. Now, I am not saying that you should not work with the realtors. There are some people that you trust, basically. But you see, there are some locations that you cannot afford to use just anyhow realtors. Apologies, I'm not trying to undermine hardworking real estate professionals, okay? But let me just quickly say this. There are some who are in the industry today because of its profitability. So they don't care what happens to your investment, in as much as fact that they will make money and they will be fine. They obviously don't give a damn of what happens later. Now you see, when I am making property recommendations, there are 3 key offices we follow. And the reason why I have worked and intensified due diligence in investing in Lagos basically is that there were 2 things that I failed to do before we fell into that scam. The first basically was that we did not consult the government master plan before we bought that location. Because you see, for every properties you are buying in Lagos, Nigeria, there is a plan. There are places that government have designated for hospitals. There are places whereby government have designated for colleges, institutions, and of course, universities. There are places that they are for future road expansions. There are places that government have earmarked for bridges and every other thing. Now, the first error we did basically that when we're buying ibeju-lekki far back in 2018, 2019, we did not know that it was essential that we check the properties at the Lagos State Land Bureau in Alausa before we make payment. We did not know. And this obviously was one of the reasons why we got scammed. And I can tell you categorically, even if a developer presents a C of O to me and say this property have C of O, let me tell you 3 search that I will do despite the fact that the property has C of O. The first search we are going to do is the title search. Now, when people are always, they've told us basically that as long as the property has a C of O, it is safe for investment, probably. But it is also important for you to know if the seller is the original owner of the C of O. So we do a title search. The next search we also do is what we call a probate search. A probate search basically is to find out if that C of O has not been used to secure loans. And the third search that we also do is the litigation search. Now, the litigation check is to unravel, okay, the property if there are legal or court cases on them. All of these things were not clear when we started out. And this is why it is very, very important that if your realtor that is representing you does not understand this and does not have the right manpower to carry out all these 3 searches, you keep making errors. So you see, The safety of your investment is solely dependent on who is making the property recommendation and how ready or how knowledgeable they are when it comes to the area of due diligence. So if your representative does not understand some of these things I've said, I said it yesterday in one of my live sessions that I had to let go of some of our lawyers that was helping us in due diligence. And why did I let the lawyer go? I found out that the lawyer was getting too attached to a particular real estate developer. And I said it basically that getting too attached is not actually the problem. Getting too attached is not actually the problem for me. But the problem basically is that if there is a need, okay, for us to do a thorough due diligence on the property that maybe an investor of us may want to buy, we fear that the lawyers' recommendations and due diligence may not be thoroughly objective because of personal gains, and we have to bring in another person. So these are some of the things that you need to know. So this is how the whole problem started. So it's not just P1 that Scott is mentioning. There are several other companies that are finding it extremely difficult to allocate. Why? Because the summary of everything is that majority of the properties they've sold, untitled properties, are gone. Now, going forward, what can I do? Should I stop buying properties in Lagos if I'm not sure of its authenticity and of its legality? Now, the thing is that refusing to invest in Lagos is not the solution. The windows. The most important, basically, is that there are some important errors you must understand. There are some important errors you must avoid. Now that I have explained the historical background to how this problem started, you have now seen that these problems, will I say, basically were self-created. Well, I would want to go outside and open all the windows very well. Go outside. So these are some of the things that you need to understand. These are some of the things you need to understand. Going forward, what must I do? The first thing basically is that you need to understand that if you are buying real estate, do not buy because of price. I'm going to say this again. I know I said this yesterday, but in some cases when I realized that my points has not been well understood or properly articulated by some people, it is very important that I state this over and over again. Do not buy because of price. Because you see, price basically is more or less like a magnetism, or it's like a base. Don't use the word magnetism. It's like a base, okay, that is being used to lure real estate developers, real estate investors, most importantly people in diaspora, to buy what will end up being trouble for them. So, am I saying all cheap properties are fake? No, I'm not saying that. But the reality basically is that understand the possibilities of what can happen when you are bought. Number two, do not buy from everybody. Now, I'm going to be doing a series where I'm going to be talking about the politics of real estate, because what many people don't understand is that in every business that is being done in Nigeria, there's always a political undertone. Although a lot of people find it extremely difficult to admit this, but the fact still remains that's the reality. There are political sides to everything that is being done in Nigeria. So you need to understand the politics and the antics of that location. Because see, whether you like it or not, there are areas that government have crafted and reserved for their own personal use. You need to understand that, because this is Nigeria. Some of these things are 100% possible. Then number two, you also need, okay, number three, I think number one, understand the risk. I said number two, do not buy because of price. Number three, vet the seller, vet the developer, vet the developer. See, the internet has made it extremely, tell them to take that baby outside. The internet has made it extremely easy. Wherever you have across the world, of course, you can view this live session because there's the internet. And we truly appreciate um, the internet. You can see my video, I can talk to you across anywhere you are across the world because there's the internet. Now, the internet has made it easier for you to do a profiling there. Now, the thing is that do not focus on the reviews on their own personal websites. Do not use the reviews on their own personal website, because I've witnessed different instances. Please take that boy out. I've witnessed different instances where some people are being paid to write reviews. I've seen instances whereby people have been paid to do video testimonials. So do not say this person has said this or this person have given review, and you have now based, sorry, I used the word based wrong, I apologize for that. Do not base your purchase decision on other people's testimony, because you see, sometimes if you go further to check, you find out that I've seen, in fact, this is something I've witnessed. Now, there was this company far back in 2020, and they were doing a promo that they wanted some real estate investors, and they were promising that if you buy this so amount of land, you will get a car, you will get ampers, you will get RAM. And many people doubted that that was true. That was wrong. That's not true. That how will I get this amount of car if I buy this property? So what the company did, basically, when they noticed that that strategy was not working, they hired someone and the guy took possession of that car and made a video showing a lot of people that, see, this particular company have given me the car. For all the doubters, as you can see, I'm driving in my car. Then, ladies and gentlemen, they hired that guy to drive that car for 1 week. And a number of days before the expiration of that week, a lot of people got deceived and they invested, and today there is problem. So basically, most of the reviews on the websites cannot give you an objective overview of what the real estate development company is. So what you must now do is to dig deeper, and this is where the track record, okay, of the developer is very important. I said this yesterday and I'm going to say it again. More importantly, use an experienced real estate professional, a real estate professional that understands the industry, a real estate developer, a real estate consultants that have lawyers, surveyors, and understands government projection. That, because you see, the recommendations, the expertise, and the information at the disposal of your representative will help you not to buy problematic properties. These things are very, very important. So this is the foundation. This is how the whole thing started. And so the reason I'm making this video basically is that Mr. Scott is still in detention, and it's quite sad. And we hope that his lawyers and every other well-meaning Nigerians that is fighting for will rise up to the occasion. I hope so, and we hope he gets released. But so concerning the company Scott has been, that he has accused over time, this is the genesis, this is the foundation, this is the historical fact of why it became extremely difficult for real estate developers to allocate the lands that were sold in 2014, 2015, 2030. So this is what you need to understand, and this is how the entire problem started. So way forward, don't buy untitled properties in Lagos. Now, if you must buy, you must have a plan to start your documentation very immediately. It is very important. So it is very, if you like the location and there are no title documentation, if you can afford to start the documentation, you can buy and start. Don't wait. That is it. Then number two, um, carry out due diligence. Carry out due diligence. You see that coastal road that is presently being built, that coastal road is a revealer. That coastal road unraveled or exposed so many things that many people did not understand. I never knew the land that I bought was inside the road. So it was when the road started we found out. I know, the annoying thing basically, some Nigerians can be very, very annoying. Is that I would sit down in my office or wherever I'm working, and I'll be watching videos on YouTube on people still going there to say buy this, in the same place that you see that government have used rules. So it's it's hilarious, but what can we do? So these are some of the things that happened. So why some companies have struggled to give land. Number one, many of them bought what they could not develop. Number two, most of the families they bought from, okay, were not the entire members of the family were not carried out. So some had to forcefully, okay, take possession of the land, and this is one of the reasons why many um properties today in ibeju-lekki are undergoing, they are under court cases. In fact, if I drove past the Ikorodu side of Epe, and I can tell you that all those freehold that was sold to people, larger percent of those freehold, in fact, it was boldly written. The reason why I could not make a video to show real estate investors was that the signpost of the real estate development company that sold those properties were there. So if I should post it on my channel, I may be facing what Scott is facing. Basically, I'm not a coward, basically, but I have come to understand basically that there are better ways to approach situations like this. So I'm not faulting whether it's wrong or right, but basically there are some things I will not do. So I would have probably shown you some of these videos of those properties that are under litigations, and these are properties that were sold 2-3 years ago to investors. And the saddest thing basically is that the real estate investors are bought. So majority of those properties are under litigations. Majority of those properties have been taken by government, and so the summary of everything is that the seller does not have the seller is no longer in the position, is no longer in the possession of the properties he has collected 1.1. There were some of these properties that were sold 1.1. There were some of these properties that were sold 800,000, 700,000, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. If you have bought, you basically understand what I'm trying to say. So majority of them are no longer in the possession of this property, and that is why they cannot allocate and give you. And I said yesterday that I would have expected that some of these companies send memos. If you are not in possession of the properties you sold to real estate investors, you don't need to keep it a secret. You should just send them, we have lost possession of this property, we are making adequate replacements, or we're finding a way. Now, a lot of people have been saying refund. The truth basically is, I love it when we tell ourselves the truth, and it is very important for us to know. You see, for some of us here now, okay, that are coming online to tell you what actually happened, okay, is that people don't get to appreciate us. They will still go back to those realtors that are lying to them, and they will still go and buy properties from them. Now, I'm not doing this because I want you to buy property. I'm just doing this because you need to know what is going on, so that if you are to, you will know the required step that you are supposed, or the appropriate measures to be taken in order to safeguard what you have bought. But basically, is that Nigerians don't like to hear the truth. That's just a fact. Nigerians don't appreciate those who are telling them the truth. And the moment we start becoming more factual with ourselves, most of this situation. Now, someone is asking, they are supposed to refund. Refund what? Refund what? Ideally, that is the legal thing to do. But the reality is that majority of these companies have been so extravagant. Where will the money want to refund? Because you see, what has happened basically is that the profit or some of the money that was realized in the sale of those properties have been invested in other properties. And some of the realtors that sold to you have been adequately paid. So majority of them don't even have the money at hand. Now, whatsoever they must have done with the money is what I cannot tell, but I can tell you basically that if you have bought properties in 2014, 15, 2020, and you don't have possession of that property, so what you should do basically is that you should take an alternative property, because you see, if you are waiting for refund, you would definitely have to wait for forever, because number one, most of these companies are no longer in existence. Some of them have, I give instances of some real estate developers, two people that I know very well that sold their pet to investors and they are no longer in the country. Most of them have run out because the moment they knew problem was coming, they quickly took to their heels and left the country. Now, who is now going to pay you refund? Is it the person that have left the country or the company that is presently struggling? Now, this is not a justification for wrongdoings or perpetuated scams and the likes. No, I'm not trying to justify anything, but I'm just trying to help you to, basically, we just need to tell ourselves the truth. These guys don't have anything to refund because the money has been spent. They've used the money for several things. And you said you are claiming that they give you document. Okay. Yes, they gave you document. But the reality basically is that properties are not available. So that is the genesis. Going forward, this is my recommendation. Going forward, if all you have, if all you can afford is just one plot of land, a 300 square meter of a land that has been checked, that has been vetted, that has been verified and confirmed to be safe for investment, a land that has gazettes, a land that has C of O, a land that has government allocation, a land that have governor's consent. If that land, if the plot, or if 300 square meter of that land is 9 million, you see that 9 million of that verified C of O, governor's consent, gazette, or any of those titles is way, way better than a 2 or 3 acres of an untitled property. A lot of people don't like hearing the truth. And I'm going to tell you guys the truth. Whether you like it or not, whether you hate me for it, I will say it. It is better for you to have one plot of a C of O land that is verified that is safe than to have several acres of an untitled properties. Because you see, when people started buying Epe, a lot of people stopped talking to me because they got swayed by people who were calling kettle black, people who were like, deceiving them. And that's why I got to realize that some Nigerians don't like listening to the truth. But I'm going to say it. If one plot is 15 million of a land, it's better for you to have it than to buy several acres. Because you see, if you buy untitled properties in Lagos, these are some of the processes you will do for you to get a title on them. Number one, you are going to secure that land from the family. Now, when you are securing it from the family, you have to do your own personal due diligence. You have to start checking if the people that are selling are the actual owner. I've seen instances whereby people have sold property that does not belong to them. So I can tell you it happens. So you have to start searching and verifying if they are actual owners. The moment you have done that, you start checking the title. Then after you've done all those due diligence, then you now start with this register survey. If you have done a register survey, if the land is not under any form of acquisition, if you have done your register survey, the next thing you now do is that you file. If the land does not have any root title at all, then you file for allocation. Now, after allocation, you will take your deed of assignment and before allocation. Don't let me use after one. Before allocation, you're going to take all the necessary documents. You take it to the land, to the ministry and to the general office to file for what we call allocation. And the department under the Lagos State Land Bureau that handles anything that does with title allocation is the NTDA, which is the New Town Development. Now, after filing for it, okay, I'm explaining the process of how to get your properties titled. Though it's long, but I'll try as much as I can to summarize it. Now, when you file for allocation, you will have paid some taxes, you will have paid for some forms, you will have done your register survey. Now, after some while, they will now send inspectors. NTDA will send inspectors to go to that property to check and do what we call physical inspection on it. So they are going to check the beacons. If the beacons on the survey correlate with what you have presented, they are going to check if the land does not fall into any other committed. Now, one of the major questions I've received, okay, I'm going to open the door for questions very quickly. One of the major questions I've received is that how long does it take inspectors from Alausa to come? See, I honestly cannot tell. I know people who have applied for allocation that I know that they've paid in Alausa since 2023 that they have not come to check the properties. So, and that is why a lot of document is in process. That's why you find out a lot of excision is still in process, a lot of CFO is still in process, a lot of governor's consent is still in process, because you see, if the location of where that property is, if it is far, you have to do extra for you to bring those inspectors. So after they've done it, they will take their own report, take it to Alausa, and once they vet it, they will now say, okay, fine, allocation for plot of land in this location is this so amount. So you now go to the designated government banks and pay to that account. So they will now pay. So after doing that allocation, and you want to do the CFO, you will now wait for the governor of the state to sign your CFO. And so this is why it takes a while. That is why I always say, see, if you cannot go through this rigor, because the process basically is very, very frustrating. That's why I usually tell people, see, if you can get the land that already has CFO. Because you see, a lot of people will say, this untitled property now, this one is 2 million, and the one for CFO is 10 million. Can't you see the difference? My dear brothers and sisters, in that, when you start doing the wahala, you will find out that what you will spend to get the CFO, sometimes it's even higher than the CFO land that is already been projected to you. So sometimes the stress is not worth it, because you will pay more and the stress is very, very frustrating. So these are some of the things you need to do. So this is the genesis of why it became extremely difficult for real estate developers to allocate lands that you have bought. Is it that government has taken over from them, or there's a road project, or some families are not happy with the sales, some people are not carried along, and there's a legal battles on that properties. In fact, there was a case, okay, of a real estate company that I know basically, and what actually happened was that this particular real estate company have allocated us 3 times. When the place that was actually sold to us, when we got there, the shege I saw on that day, so the company apologized, they've gotten another alternative location, and when we got there, the situation was even worse. Then, so on that particular land, we've allocated like 3 different places. I just told my investor, please just ask for your refund because there is no guarantee that this new place has been allocated with free. So these are some of the challenges. So I will open the floor now for questions. I want to quickly take questions. So if you have questions, thank you very much for people who have joined this live session. We are still on. I'm not going now. So, all right. So I'm going to quickly read Mr. Williams, Doctor. I might be rude addressing you as Mr. Yeah, Doctor. my able doctor. We were classmates in the Unilag. Thank you very much. He said, "I love your realism. I'm definitely going to screenshot this and I'm going to post it. I just got the recommendation, okay, from my able doctor, Dr. Williams. Dr. Sean Williams is an um sorry. Uh-oh. I just turned off the phone. Okay, so I got an amazing recommendation from my doctor. So before I off this live session, I'm going to say I love your realism and your down to earth personnel in this show. In simple times, I like the fact that you did not have to pick up or show or wear suit just to make sure the podcast. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this. Okay. I like that. Um, that you didn't have to show or wear a suit and tie just to make live broadcast. Many of these careerist realtors in Lagos in recent years look more concerned about looking big, flashy, and larger than real life. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. That obviously I'm going to definitely going to screenshot it. Thank you very much. So I'm going to take questions. Okay, this is an R. So okay, so someone asked me, are you saying the reason why P1 could not allocate is that some of their lands could be having problems? Okay, if you have been very, very observant when I was making this broadcast, I didn't mention any company. So I will not affirm that this person is, if the company is having issues or not, because they have not publicly come out to say this could be the reason, okay, while they could not allocate their investors. So I will not affirm what I don't know, basically. So if it's the issues, I believe that they should have related this earlier to their investors. If it is not, it could be any other thing. So I'm not affirming because they have not publicly come out to say this is what they're going through or this is what the problem is. Until they do so, I'm not affirming anything. All I'm just saying basically is that I'm giving a generalization of the major reasons why it has become extremely difficult for some people to allocate or give properties is due to the fact that many of them are going through problems. I know of several. Okay, I know of several, and that is a reason for some. But if that is for P1, that is here to be seen because they have not publicly affirmed that that's what they're going through. But I'm just giving like what I have experienced. Okay, so I'm not affirming anything. But thank you very much for that question. So this person says, what is the adverse effect of the Lagos Calabar coastal road? Because I'm not in the country. Okay. I've been to that location 3 times this year. The first one I did basically was to go to some of the places I've bought, and I can speak for myself that larger percent of the land I bought are gone because of that coastal road. Sure, you understand. So the coastal road, like I said initially, reviewed so many so many how would I say it now? It reviewed so many flaws in our industry. So that is what has happened in that area. So I'll just say that is what has happened. So for your land, I honestly don't know where you bought. I cannot say, but like I told someone who asked a similar question to this yesterday, is that get someone to help you verify and do the needful. So I believe that has answered the question. So I have a question. I have another question. This is, so you're saying all these real estate developers giving cars and millions were lying. I never I did not say all. I only gave oh my Nigerian brothers and sisters. You people are always trying to put words in my mouth. I only cited a situation I witnessed. Okay. And when I was talking about not, basing your I would say your decision of purchase based on some of the reviews. I've seen it. I can tell you that some people are being paid to write reviews, and some of those testimonies you see online, some are being paid because you know of market credibility. You know, when somebody say I've gotten my land, yes, you will. You will be persuaded to. And that is not to say that all the reviews that other companies have written are lies. No. And that is not to say every allocation, okay, that is being given is to a lie. Please let me also strike a balance to it so that I will not be misquoted. All I'm saying basically is that out of every good people, of course, there are still people with ulterior and bad motives. So that is why it is very important that you do your own due diligence and find out the one who is lying from the one who is not. So please. Okay. So the Lagos State government sent uh, a notification for further demolitions in the Kota axis. Okay, this is a question. And I have a property in that axis. What must I do? Okay. What I'm going to suggest basically is that we're not going to go back and open every fresh wounds, because there are some things I have expected you to have done before you buy. So don't let us go back to the mistakes. Now, the thing basically is that if you can send me a private message, I'm going to share some contact with you. Okay, these are professionals that will help you do what we call a survey and a due diligence of that location. So if your property will be affected, you will know. Okay, so if you have been following some of my videos, my numbers are on my social media. If you want your, because I've had instances whereby some people said I don't want my number to be shared, you can send me an email. The email is at propertykingscott@gmail.com. propertieskingscott@gmail.com. You can also send me a mail, so I will, my appropriate staffs will inform them immediately after the show, and they will send you the number. So you call those people. The first person is actually a lawyer. One of the things I do basically is that I don't give access to, but this is a very important and of course urgent matter. So you're going to speak with our lawyer, you're going to speak with our surveyor. It comes with a fee. It's not free. So I need to say that, but of course, it's not going to be outrageous, something you can afford. So they will help you do a map, a due diligence, a documentation verification. I'm not saying you did not do that, but there are different kind of verifications. So they are going to help you check it, and they will tell you what to do. Of course, every information is coming from them. No, it's coming directly from Alausa, of course, because over time we've been able to establish, we work in relationships, so we even get to hear informations of demolitions before they happen, and of course this has helped us to guide our investors. So please, if you cannot contact any of my number, the email is on proper. If you go to my YouTube bio, you see the propertieskingscott@gmail.com. So send me a mail. I'll follow those numbers, get in touch with them, and of course they will attend to it accordingly. So I have another question. So what should I do? Because I have acres of land in the Odiemi axis of ibeju-lekki. Are you saying the coastal road will affect it? Okay. Let me quickly respond to this very quickly. The first thing I think you should do, you need to know basically, is that there are some setbacks. I'm going to be doing a video, a live video, obviously not this week. Today is Friday and tomorrow is Saturday. In one of our podcasts, in one of our live sessions, I'm going to be explaining setbacks, the number of setbacks for some locations. And if you understand the setbacks, I think it will also help you to know where to pitch your investment. I think I have a video on setbacks, but I have a detailed information. And of course, I'll be bringing in a surveyor, one of our registered surveyor, who's going to be talking to us more, what you need to understand. So you should look forward for that video. It's going to be very, very massive. So of course, we'll be talking about, so look at the setbacks. And of course, if you want our surveyors to also check, basically, and from where we stay, you cannot spend anything less than to and fro 50 to 60,000 on fuel, because that place is massive, way inside. So if you are satisfied with that, the email is just properties King Scott, um property King Scott dot at gmail.com. propertykings at gmail.com. So you can send me a message. I will forward the number of our professionals, and because they will tell you what to do. All right. Okay. So I have another question here. Is buying freehold land in Badagry okay for now? Okay. So for us not to, thank you very much, Miss Jimmy. Um, for us not to repeat the same mistakes that happened in Ekpe, in ibeju-lekki, because some of the land used to be freehold. Okay, it is okay if you do the documentation. If you will do the documentation, it is very okay. If you are going to do the title by, if you are not ready, it is not okay, because uh I would say Lagos is the most unpredicted place to buy onto properties. Like, one of the easiest way that you can bring problem, or you can cause problem, or you can look for government problem, is for you to buy untitled lands and leave it, because something happened. I think I did a video on what happened in the Elerongbe axis of ibeju-lekki. Even excision as a land title is even much more stronger. Excision as a land title is much more stronger than freehold. Like, if government have excised the land, that means the land also have some levels of, some measures of safety. That means you can acquire. But I have seen Lagos state government revoking excision. Yeah, this happened in the area, but I have facts, I have proofs. So, but like I said, not all informations are meant for, online. So I've seen government revoke the excision, land that it was government that, okay, if I have excised this land, they revoked it. So if government can revoke excision, I can tell you they can. In fact, for them, the freehold does not have hope. So it is okay if you are going to do your documentation, if you are going to buy and perfect, and please, before you buy, confirm the freehold, because you see, there's a lot of project coming to Badagry. Badagry is going to have a seaport. Badagry is going to have a refinery. I was told that dangote is coming, but that seaport is very, very so by the time that project starts and government attention shifts there, every untitled property is not safe. So that includes freehold. So the first thing you want to do is confirm the freehold first, because I've had a lot of people say they have personally contacted me that they wanted to buy properties in Badagry, which obviously is a fantastic idea. But for us not to repeat some of the errors that some investors have made, in that area, please confirm that freehold first, and confirm if you can work your title. The moment you start doing your title before the project starts, I can tell you it is safe. But if you are not going to do the title and the seller is not going to do the title, I will advise you leave it. Yes, it is very important, because anything that is untitled in Lagos is not safe. And besides, freehold is not a title. I think I did a video that freehold is just like a status, like a current status of a land that can change at any time. So I gave instance of what happened in Erobe, that government can change a something that has excision. Government can revoke it and resell it to somebody who paid them for government allocation. That's just why we have to be more careful. So if you are going to do the title, it's safe, you can buy. If the seller is going to do the title, it's safe. But if you know you don't have the intention of doing the titles, please, let it go, please, because in Lagos you can't predict government action. So I also have another question. Are you not saying buying untitled properties in Nigeria is safe? No, 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 no. Yesterday I instances of border towns. I talked about the Ekpe Ijebode border town. I gave instances of the Ekpe Ogun border town. I gave instances of the Ekpe Kurudu border town. The I'm trying to recall this name, the Badagry border town. Now, border town are safer But by the time I begin to talk more about, of course, I'm going to be doing a video where I'm going to be talking about the truth about border towns, where I'll be exposing a lot of things so that you can have an accurate understanding of how but if you can afford to buy border towns, please, they are safer. So the only thing is just that I don't always advise freehold or title properties in Lagos and its four corners. It's very, very risky. Very, very risky, because you see, you don't know what project will be coming that will make government take that place. So, okay, so I have another P1 investors. Okay, I don't want to mention brand's name, but it seems this man bought the property. His own is 2022. I'll say it's even more recent. And the company is not. Can you help me check? No, I can't. I'm sorry. I have to be very, 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 very straightforward. I'm sorry if I've said it in some of my videos that if it's somewhere you have bought and you're having problem, I'm sorry. There's absolutely nothing I can do, because everybody is trying to protect themselves. You know how Nigerian is. But what I would advise you do basically is that if it is that how do I explain that, if it's within that coastal road, one thing is certain: lands in those axes that does not have titles are gone. So if you have an opportunity for them to give you land elsewhere, even if it is in Ibadan, I would say for the sake of your for the sake of your money, just take it, and hopefully when the place develop, you can resell it and get back your money. But if it's in that area, trust me, it's gone. So basically, I'm also going to quickly use this opportunity to talk to our investors. I want to say a very big thank you to all of you, that you have given me the opportunity to handle your real estate investment, and I'll be giving a live updates very, very soon. I had problem with my God, because you just provide money for me to buy another car. You see that car, that my Corolla is giving me stress, and I'm spending a lot of money. So I've not been mobile, so it has become a little bit difficult for me to to go. But of course, expect updates very soon, and of course to also give you an update. Uh, I'm also going to be sharing something like videos on investments that you can do, that my lawyers, our surveyors, and every other person have vetted, okay, and they have proven those properties to be very, very good. If you're interested in any of them, of course, I also have properties in Ogun State that I've also vetted that are good for investment. So I'll be sharing those videos very soon, so you get to see them and you can make a good real estate investment decision. So that is so. This is where I'm going to drop the curtain. I've stayed longer. My Dr. Williams, I want to say a very big thank you for this. I want to say a very big thank you to everybody that joined today's live session. Um, I appreciate this, and thank you very much. Of course, expect more videos this Sunday. Okay, because of some of the strenuous work I have to do, I had to just limit posting videos mostly on Sundays, but live session for now on Thursdays and Fridays. So if there's a change, I'll definitely let you know. I want to say a very big thank you to everybody that have joined us, and of course, expect more updates from us. And so, if you have joined this channel and you have not subscribed, trust me, what are you waiting for? See you by next week. God bless you. Bye for